real white people. I am Dr. Joe. Hello and thanks for watching. Mr. and Miss America, all ships at sea, all planes in the air, all vehicles on the ground, greetings. Today we're going to talk about why is the United States of America so wealthy and what makes us wealthy. You see, the United States was created about 222 years ago with a Constitution and the amended Articles. That means what? That this nation was owned previously by an absolute ruler. With that in mind, of course, this is from the year 2013, an absolute ruler or King George III. Let's go back for a minute and talk about that. Christopher Columbus sailed out of Spain and discovered a new land, which we now know as the Americas. When he discovered this land, he then evolved thereafter into turning over the country into several different other countries, one known as Britain. The United States was not existent. It was called the New Land. So Britain established a colony, actually 13 of them, on this land. The first city they established was in 1607, known as Jamestown. Well, let's go back in history now and understand where and how rulers operated on this earth. So from the beginning of time, we had a king and queen, or a dictator, an absolute ruler over the people. They owned everything. They owned the land, the buildings, the animals, the money. They were the law. They were justice. They had everything. If you created something under the absolute ruler, you didn't get to keep it. It belonged to the king, the dictator, or the absolute ruler. You may know this type of government by a different name today. You may know it as Marxism, socialism, communism. You may know it as fascism, statism, liberalism, progressivism, or postmodernism. So now you understand that there are absolute governments. Now, why would we talk about it as an absolute government? Because they own everything and everybody, as I've said. If that became the way we were from the beginning of time up until this country was founded, and it was, little creating by humans was done. What I mean by that is this. The United States became wealthy because it allowed humans to create things and keep the wealth from what they created from the marketing of it. Because let's think about this for a minute. Government being a king and a queen, or a dictator and their thugs or military, owned it all and maintained it all. So when that happened, humans decided that they did not want to do anything after creating it because the king took it, or the dictator, or the absolute ruler. With King George III over in England demanding from the people in the 13 colonies on this land, they revolted. They said, we want to keep our wealth. You see, they were creating and keeping their wealth, tobacco and other products. Well, the India tea was dumped into the bay in 1773. And the people said, we're not going to be serfs and slaves. This is our money, and we're not being represented, and we're going to keep our wealth. And yes, they were British subjects, and they committed treason. That's absolutely true, because they had to throw off the shackles of their government, of the absolute rulers, so they could continue to create. With that in mind, they sat down and developed something known as a constitution with their amended articles to it. And if you think about that for a minute, you understand that that type of government would be without a king. The Constitution would provide that the king would be called a president. The ruling powers would be the House and the Senate making the laws, and the Constitution then would be measured to the new laws with the Supreme Court. And of course, we, the people, would own the government. We'd run the government. We could be represented in our government, so we could change it, so we wouldn't have an absolute ruler. That means we would have no dominating Republican or Democrat Party or Green Party or any other political party whatsoever to dominate us. So that if you understand how that works, we go back 5,000 years and we will see that there was no creating of anything hardly that we can talk about. They could have created cars and things back 5,000 years ago up to modern times. But because the human, and we're humans, we were not allowed to keep that which we created, the benefit of it, we stopped. We didn't continue to create. So with our country and the way we stand, we have decided with the men and geniuses who set up this land that we could own what we create. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you create a wheel. All right, all those who want a wheel can buy one from you. You get to keep the benefit of that. You get to keep the reward in the marketplace. Under an absolute ruler, it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the king or the ruler, and you don't get to keep it. So the result of that is you'll stop creating. If you don't get the benefit of it, why create? So we understand that we humans keep the reward if we're going to eat, right? Somebody has to have an incentive to go and plant and cultivate the food so we can eat. If it's owned by the government and they take away any of the reward, no one gets to eat because everybody's going to sit down and do nothing. So our rights under a great document were given to us, as noted, under the Declaration of Independence from Britain, which said that, among other things, our rights come from our Creator. And among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness means we get to own title to things. In other words, our Creator gave us our rights. In order to change them, you must become God or a Creator to change them. You see, when you have a all-powerful, all-ruling government, the rights come from the government. In Germany, Hitler gave the rights to the German people. 17 million people were killed. Joseph Stalin gave the communist people their rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and 50 to 60 million Russians died under their authority. Mao Zedong gave the Chinese their rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and over 100 million people were murdered because those rights were taken away by their government. In our land, you see, we have the right to our rights through our Creator. And if that's taken away from us, we will have no rights. We will become slaves and serfs. And yes, it can happen, and yes, it will happen, and yes, there are those who want it to happen. So let us understand that the way that we have evolved is by these geniuses who sat down and understood how to give the human the right to keep their reward of what they create. Where do we get the houses, the gasoline engines, the computers, the refrigerators, furniture, clothing, rockets, you name it? It's because those humans created it, and when they created it, they kept their reward, and they went and created again. And you may do the same thing. So our Constitution is unique among all the nations on the face of the earth. We have to understand that. It doesn't get old. It doesn't fade away from modern times because you see it's humans. And we humans have to keep our reward of what we do, and that'll allow us to continue to create. If you take that away, then we don't create. Then we're under force to do things. Do you understand that? Are you with me? So our Constitution, the way it is written, the way it was set up, continues year after year into infinity, if you want to, because it grants humans the right to create, which creates wealth. And that is the way we do it here in the United States. I want you to remember that you don't have to be a man, woman, you don't have to be of a religion, you don't have to be of a color, you don't have to have anything in the United States to create things, take it to the marketplace, and keep your reward under our current laws, which may be changing. You have to vote for the people to go to our government to make sure it doesn't go beyond what's already been taken away from us. You see, you have to understand that government has no money. Government produces nothing. Businesses create money. Businesses produce jobs. Businesses produce things because we are the business. We are humans, and we keep our reward, and we keep creating. Government has nothing like that, but can dominate us. And if you believe that government is your paycheck, you're wrong. So let us think about that as we go forward. We're all one, united, white, black, red, brown, yellow. We're all Americans. Remember that we were created and we did not evolve. That didn't happen. Recognize and beware of the dark, horrific, wild, terrible side of government you live under. And government is not your paycheck for welfare or anything else. Charities do that, not government. Remember, it is your life. What have you done to protect it? You better vote and understand it. That's very important. And remember, too, that our children have only our parents to be their safety and their guide. Do you understand that? And we will teach them. And please go to timeforfreedom.net and buy my book, They Hate Us and He Hates Us. Read it to your children. And please send us a donation. to back this, to have it continue to go out. Make a donation to Federal Children Congress, Inc., a tax-exempt organization. And please go to soundthealarm1.com. Help get the word out to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Tell them what we have and what we may lose if we don't protect it. I'd like to hear from you, your comments. Please email me at Dr. Joe, that's DRJOE, at timeforfreedom.net. I do want to hear your comments, please. And thank you for watching. Tell all others to view this message. Put it on your Facebook, tweet it out, email it to your friends, your family, your church, your school friends, your universities. Till later, I am Dr. Joe, and God bless you, and thank you for watching.